Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the DSP Morning Show. How y'all doing? I hope I find you well. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of February, 2026. Welcome to DSP Gaming, and today is a brand new release. If you're not aware, today we're going to be checking out a new game by the name of Crizzle Theater of Idols. It is a survival horror game that plays from the first-person perspective. It plays like an FPS, but has interesting gothic horror elements, like using your own blood as ammo for the guns, which is kind of weird and creepy. The best comparison that people have made is that it's kind of like BioShock, but I don't know if that's accurate. I haven't played it. I've only seen the trailer. It looks interesting. You know, it does. It looks like something a little different, definitely different than stuff that we've been playing recently, and that's a good thing. Variety is always a good thing. So I'm excited to jump into that for today on the first stream right here after the morning show. And of course, tonight's late stream is the return of Street Fighter VI and Dalzim, who I have not used since I returned to Street Fighter VI a month ago. All right, so I'm excited. Oh, thank you for feeling the love and sharing the love early on here, Michael. I'm excited to jump back to Street Fighter VI tonight. So the full day of action-packed stuff here on the channel. Good stuff today, right? How's everyone doing this morning? I hope you're doing well. You ready to chill with me? The DSP Morning Show means that we are going to hang out for roughly a half an hour to an hour to build up stream attendance and get excited for the new release. And we're going to talk about all the news, including all the gaming news that is out there. We've got an update on Directive 8020, the next game from Supermassive Games. We've got a big update on 2XKO, the fighting game from Riot Games that kind of launched and now already is failing miserably. And anything else that you guys want to chat and talk about this morning. All right, I'm down for it. So thank you to Michael. Michael with a $2 super chat says hype, and he gets the support flowing already nice and early. Thank you so much, Michael, for our first contribution of the day. Let's get that on the leaderboard. Appreciate that very much. Who do we got here today this morning nice and early? Let's find out, shall we? So, shout-outs to Emperor Ferbs, Pizza Time, Michael, of course, Crash Out, what a nice name, Brave Lines, Brian27, Chris, Amoose, Fed Roger, Smugman Jack, Rose Diamonds, Broden, and more on the YouTube side. Then over on the Kick side, who do we got? Lukewarm Coconut, Pot of Greed, Soraka, Ed Reed, Humble Water Filter Salesman, RGB dumbbells. That's interesting. Even I don't have RGB dumbbells. Maybe that's what I should invest in. The Transgender Asian has just done 100 kicks. That's our first kick side contribution of the day, and we'll get that on the leaderboard in a second. Soraka, how are you doing? Here we go. He's a disgusting freak, and he's talking about milking me like a cow. That's absolutely revolting. You're on the wrong show. That's Lol Cow. Lol Cow Show. Lol Cow Live. Go over there and milk those udders. Stay away from me. I'm a manly man. Thank you, Transgender Asian, for the 100 kicks. Let's get that on the leaderboard. Our first support of the day from the kick side. So, how y'all doing? Let's see here. King Michael, good morning. Good to see ya. Cabal says Dragon Quest VII might pick up on the next stream because you're close to getting the ability to change your job. Yeah, the gameplay right now is pretty basic in Dragon Quest VII. It hasn't gotten too unique yet, but if we can change jobs, at least there'll be a new variable. That's cool. Good to know. Dark Helmet wants to ask me an important question. Typically, if you're going to ask an important question, you just ask it. You don't ask the question, can I ask an important question? But go for it. Transgender Asian has now gifted a sub on Kick. Thank you for the gifted. That's now our first sub and our first kicks on Kick for the day. Thank you so much for the early support. Thank you, thank you. Why am I gay? Because things are good. You are a happy person when things are good, and things are going good. This year so far, we've had amazing games, a good variety of games, and I'm able to play all of them because of my new strategy and the amount of support that I receive. The streams go well, lots of interaction, lots of support. So, yeah, that's why I'm happy. How am I? I am good, Max Change. Thank you for asking. Okay. We have a few topics to talk about today, okay? And so let's begin. The first one I want to talk about very quickly is Dragon Quest VII. All right. So here's the deal. What's going on with Dragon Quest VII Reimagined in the schedule? it's not doing great when it comes to engagement and support. And what I mean by that is attendance yesterday was good. We actually had over 200 viewers on YouTube, over 100 viewers on Kick. But all of the Kick viewers were basically trolling the game, claiming it sucked, it was too slow, it was boring. I hate to say it, but I think that's just more about the viewers complaining than the game. You know what classic JRPGs are like and what they play like. If you purposely decided to attend a classic JRPG stream just to say you don't like the game, I think that says you're an idiot. I'm sorry, I just do. I think that if you're here to troll on a game when you know what it is, makes you dumb. You don't go to a Justin Bieber concert if you don't like Justin Bieber, so why do you attend the JRPG stream if you don't like JRPGs? It just doesn't make much sense, does it? As for those who are there and enjoying it, that's great. All right, but it's not a ton of people who really seem to be enjoying the game. The thing is, I am. I love classic turn-based JRPGs. And from what I'm being told, like Cabal just said, the game is actually going to pick up a bit, the further in we get. Right now, we're only 6 hours in. Some people just can't get over the art style. Seriously, they can't. They're like, oh, the characters are like chibi looking. You know, like their bodies are small, but their heads are big. Like, yeah, that's a typical thing in Japan. That's a typical thing in Japanese culture, and particularly in Dragon Quest. Until recently, like Dragon Quest XI, it's always been like that. Like, that's always been a thing in Dragon Quest. So, that's why this game being a throwback Dragon Quest VII, when the current one is 11, that's why it still looks like that. I mean, it's the art style of Akira Toriyama, the guy who made Dragon Ball. So, how people don't get that, I don't know. I mean, even a game like Chrono Trigger, to some extent, had that kind of hyper accentuation where the bodies weren't exactly proportionate to how they should have been in real life. So far, I'm liking it. But man, it is hard to get an audience that will engage with this game in a positive way and to support it. Good news is, by the end of yesterday's stream with Dragon Quest XI, we still had done like over $100 of support, and I was happy with that. But here's the deal. I like Dragon Quest and turn-based RPGs. I would like to keep this game in the rotation, even if it doesn't do super well. But that entails that all my other stuff continues to do well, right? So the perfect example here is yesterday, the Dragon Quest stream didn't do amazing, but the RimWorld stream way overperformed. We had great engagement and really good support, and it's like, well, if we're going to get that for the other game on the days when I'm playing Dragon Quest, then it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it'll all even out. If Crizzle does well today, if Street Fighter does well tonight, if Hollow Knight continues to do well, then it's not a big deal that I have one particular game in the rotation that's not doing great. And that's how we can handle it moving forward. But of course, ideally, the best thing would be if the game did well. You know, like if people did show up, engage, and actually support with Dragon Quest VII, then we wouldn't have the issue at all. So let's see what happens moving forward. All right, I am going to play Dragon Quest VII again this week on Thursday, right? I think it's Thursday's daytime stream. So we will continue, and hopefully it will continue to get better. Maybe we will get more of an audience. I don't know. But let's see what happens. Okay, we're not going to go crazy. I'm not going to drop the game or whatever and be all negative about it. I mean, I'll be honest. I do wish I could get more people for it, but what can I do, right? Okay, some shout-outs to do, I think. Yes, so first we got a couple tips. I received a $5 tip from Clout Siffler. Let's go ahead and play an animation and see what Clout has to say. Let me get to my tips animations here. Thank you, Clout. Our first tip of the day. He says, happy Crizzle release date. I'm very excited to play and watch the game. If you enjoyed classic horror games from the PS3 and 360 era with a tinge of BioShock inspiration, I think that you'll enjoy the game a lot, especially for the price. Have fun. Important to note, Crizzle is very inexpensive, which I thought, from what we saw of this game, you know, watching the trailer, it looks like it's a AAA game. Seriously, it does. The graphics are good, and the gameplay looks really sound, so I thought this would be like 40, 50 bucks. Dude, it's like $17. I got it for 15 because they have a bundle to bundle it with Blasphemous 2, and I already own Blasphemous 2, so I got it for $14 and change. What the hell? Like, that's really inexpensive. I'm shocked it's that cheap. I'm gonna guess it's probably on the shorter side. okay? Now, that's okay. If it is on the shorter side, not every game has to be insanely long, okay? So I'm all right with that, and let's see how it goes today. I think it's going to be an exciting playthrough. By the way, after I do shoutouts, I want to talk about some other games that are either out or coming out, and I'm going to address them, because I know already I'm going to get asked questions today about them. Okay. Someone tipped $2.01, says, please don't give up on Dragon Quest VII. The game will get incredible in a few hours. Many are calling it the greatest JRPG ever made, rivaling Clear Obscure in writing. I don't believe that. Some people like it, some people don't. I know for a fact it's going to feel more like a legacy JRPG because the older Dragon Quests all kind of follow a similar formula of they start off feeling like typical fantasy fare with dragons and magic and swords and chivalry, but then they turn into something a little different. Like there was one Dragon Quest game where you would travel across dimensions. And now in this one, it appears there's going to be a time manipulation mechanic, which I didn't understand at first, but it was apparent on yesterday's stream that that's going to happen. So there you go. Thank you for the $2 tip there, anonymous tipper. Okay. Oh, I received a $2 super chat from Fish Tank Big Boss, who asks, if you got $100,000 for show upgrades, what would you change? Oh, that's an interesting question. If I got $100,000 and it was only to upgrade the equipment, okay, what would I upgrade? Okay, let's think honestly, all right? First off, this desk is fine for where it is and for the current setup, but ideally, I would basically move my whole entire set over to that side of the room, okay? I would probably get a much better desk because this desk is not great. It's kind of a cheaper desk. So I'd probably get a more professional level desk that is bigger, maybe actually has the height adjustment feature that this one was supposed to have, but it was cheap. It wasn't ever going to work. So probably actually real wood instead of fiberboard. Okay, get a better desk. I would probably get a much better chair. This chair is just okay. All right, it's comfy, don't get me wrong, but it's not a super ergonomic chair. You know, they have chairs out there that are like $1,000 or more, and those chairs are meant for all-day comfort. They're really expensive. I would probably get a much better chair since I sit in this thing all day long, okay? Now, if I were moving the set over there to the other side of the office, I would probably redesign that entire wall. I would probably have it look very visually appealing, whether I get, you know, more soundproofing or something that looks good. You know, they have all these backdrops. You get wood. You could get ones that have, like, fancy actual, like shapes and things that bend the light well. So I would probably change the whole backdrop of that wall over there to look much better. Outside of that, honestly, I would definitely get another PC for capture and streaming. The reason being the one I have is fine. But when I bought it, I didn't realize the limitations. Like, I can't even put an internal capture card in that thing, which is stupid. Like, I thought I could, and I can't. I would buy one that's, like, super high-end that could put an internal capture card in it so that I can actually do everything at the highest quality. Right now, can I capture and stream at 4K? Yes. But I cannot capture and stream at 4K and then also co-broadcast to two different websites. I can't. Imagine if I got a super high-end PC that could do that, capture and stream at 4K, and I could co-stream at 1080p to Kick and 4K to YouTube at the same time. That would be sick. I would want that. I would also want to use an internal capture device that can have every single feature. So I could do 240 hertz on this monitor. I can do G-Sync on this monitor, things I can't do with my current capture device because it's an external one because my PC doesn't work with internal capture cards. So that's just a few right off the top of my head, things that I would do if I had unlimited budget to upgrade the setup, okay? Some of those would be a big benefit to you. For example, obviously, if I was doing 4K quality, okay, you would see the benefit immediately, right, in the content. If I were to move from here to over there, I'd have more flexibility in where I could move and things I could do on the set. It would actually be even more professional because that's actually a much bigger space over there against that wall compared to what I have behind me here. And the desk could be like twice the width over there. So there's a lot I could do. I could have more stuff behind me. Basically, it would be much better if I was working from over there. But right now, just not a consideration, okay? So there you go. Very good. Okay, so there you go. All right, so today we are going to be playing Crizzle Theater of Idols, and I'm excited for the game. Hopefully it ends up being good at kind of a, an interesting, combination of survival horror, Bioshock-esque kind of gameplay. People are saying it could be 8 to 10 hours, then someone said it was 10 to 15. So it's not the longest game, but at the same time, it sounds like something perfect for the schedule right now, so I'm excited for it, okay? Now, this is not the only game that is coming out this week, all right? In fact, there's another game that came out today that so far I'm not really interested in putting into the schedule unless I hear from you. The name of this game is Mugenics, okay? This game is from the same developer who made Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac, all right? So obviously, the game has a pedigree, okay? And the game, you know, to be honest, probably plays well, probably is lengthy and has a lot of content, okay? But you might say, well, why am I not checking out Mugenics today? Well, number one, I have a bunch of games in the schedule in the rotation already. Think of it. We're already playing Hollow Knight. That's doing well. We're already playing RimWorld. That's doing well. We got Dragon Quest VII in the rotation now, which I'm hoping will do well, but we don't know yet. Okay, Street Fighter VI has been doing well, and we're now trying to play Hellmart. So with those games in the rotation, I can't really be throwing another game into the rotation right now. And I had to choose between the two games coming out today, and I'm looking at a game that's really awesome graphics, gothic survival horror, gore, Bioshock-esque elements, scary but fun, versus a game with a bunch of mutated cartoon kitties with puzzles. And I would like to say something, all right? And listen, whatever floats your boat, to each their own, whatever your preference is, that's fine. That's the beauty of life, is that there is variety, okay? And that is a good thing. If every game was exactly the same, then everything would be boring, right? But here's the thing about me and what I choose to play and what I choose not to play, okay? First impressions are pretty important, all right? The first moment that I saw Crizzle, I was like, whoa, visually stunning, right? Scary, but wow, the art design is kind of fun and unique and interesting. The game stands out. Looks like it's going to be scary, but also fun to play. Almost like Doom-esque combined with Bioshock. Looks good, right? The first moments that I saw Mugenics, I was like, what the fuck is this? The game looks weird as shit. Again, it looks like a corrupted cartoon, like someone drew it when they were high. It's not even clear what the gameplay elements are. The introduction trailer that came out was some kind of like really bad comedy that wasn't very funny. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what is this? I didn't even know at first glance this was from the makers of Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac at all, but it definitely is that kind of art style, right? So allow me to explain what I mean by that first impressions are everything. So, as you know, I'm a lifelong fighting game fan, right? Well, I love playing fighting games that appeal more to the kind of the visual style and stuff that I like. So, for example, if I'm going to play a fighting game, the number one thing I gravitate towards is Street Fighter. That's the one that I grew up with playing in arcades. I've seen the evolution of the series over time. And yes, the Street Fighter visual style has changed. At first, it was more realistic with almost a comic book aspect. Then it changed to anime and manga with the Street Fighter Alpha series. Then it went to kind of a hybrid with Street Fighter 4. And then 5 and 6 have leaned more towards the realistic side again. Okay? But that's kind of what I like. Now, if you were to say, what's your second favorite franchise of fighting games? It's probably Tekken, which again is a hybrid. It's a hybrid of like more realistic style with probably like some anime-esque qualities, correct? But I remember back in the day, there was a fighting game series that came out that gameplay-wise is incredibly sound. It's actually very complex. It's got tons of very layered gameplay mechanics. You need to really be good at fighting games to actually do well at this franchise. And a lot of my friends jumped into it and really liked it. Personally, I never did. And the reason is the visual style. The game that I'm talking about is called Guilty Gear. Okay? Guilty Gear essentially is a fighting game that is very, very nuanced, layered. You need to actually really be good at fighting games to play Guilty Gear at a high level. I respect people who have played and mastered Guilty Gear because it's actually a very hard game to play. I know because I tried to play it and I was like, dude, this is like way too many controls and levels. It's like, forget this, okay? The visual style of Guilty Gear looks like hyper exaggerated anime, right? Some of the characters are ginormous, monstrous freaks that could never exist. Some are hypersexualized girls, while others are like young chibi girls. You know what I'm saying? Then you got like the stereotypical heroic anime dude. And it's just, you watch it like, I don't know, like growing up playing Street Fighter, then seeing Guilty Gear, I was like, this really doesn't appeal to me. Just visually, that's not what I'm looking for in a fighting game. And then it's funny because as the years passed, honestly, franchises like Street Fighter and Tekken started to absorb more of the very, very accentuated Japanese characteristics that I didn't really like about Guilty Gear. So it's kind of like I couldn't get away from it anyway. Everything ended up having that style, right? But in general, if I'm going to choose a game, all right, if I'm going to say, hey, in the realm of fighting games, which one's more appropriate to me, I'm going to be like, it's Street Fighter, right? That's the one that visually appeals to me, so that's what I go towards. I'm not even talking about gameplay mechanics. I'm just saying how it looks, okay? So that's kind of what I mean when I say first appearances or first impressions are everything. The first thing you see of a video game is how it looks. And so if the visual style clicks with you and it appeals to you, you're probably going to be more interested in wanting to play the game. So when I was looking at the new games for this week and I'm looking at, oh, Crizzle, wow, look at this. It's like breathtaking. The world design, everything is so detailed, nuanced, horror, and it's interesting, shiny, flashy, gory, scary, cool. Mugenics. Looks like someone took a picture and like crumbled it up and shoved it up their ass and shat it out. Here's Mugenics. It doesn't look good. It looks like a hyper-distorted cartoon. It looks fucking weird. So immediately I'm turned off. Like the first impression I have is repulsion. Like, oh, what is this? Why did they make the game look like this? And then they say, oh, it's from the same makers of Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac. And you're like, oh yeah, it kind of looks like that too. You're right. Those games also had weird, distorted, mutated graphics. Why did they make the game look like that? Now, here's the thing. I get it. Variety is the spice of life. If everything were exactly the same, it'd be boring. And just because I personally look at a game like Crizzle and I'm like, ooh, flashy, I want to play it, versus I look at Mugenics and I'm like, oh, it's creepy. What is this shit? That doesn't mean that that's going to be your reaction. And that's okay. I like the fact that everyone likes different things and has affinities for different things. And personally, if you really love Super Meat Boy and you love Binding of Isaac and maybe you played the shit out of those games, you look at a game like Mugenics and you're like, wow, that appeals to me. But for me, I'm the opposite. Like, I haven't really played much of those games, even though I know what they are. So for me, it just didn't appeal at all. Now, very much what might happen is people today will be playing both games and people will be like, whoa, Mugenics is like super good. A gameplay loop is very addictive and fun and you should play it. And if that's the case, you should tell me that because I would like to play it then. Okay, I'm not going to be completely biased and say, oh, I absolutely refuse to play this game simply because how it looks. But I'm just telling you my initial impressions. I'm trying to be honest and transparent. It doesn't look good because it looks fucking weird. Maybe I'm completely off base and it's actually seriously good. And if that's the case, I would like to know that. So please share that information with me for those of you who will be checking it out today. I'm not against bringing it into the rotation, maybe even as early as next week. Because, for example, this Hellmark game is only like 6 hours long and we're 2 hours in. So we might beat it within another couple streams. We'll have open spots in the schedule. So I'd be okay with checking it out then. There you go. Okay. So, on top of that, all right, I'm curious about other games this week. For example, there's a new game from, is it Suda51 called Romeo is a Dead Man. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I was younger, 10, 15 years ago, when I started as a YouTuber, these kind of irreverent, over-the-top, over-violent, over-sexualized, Japanese-style games from Suda51, they really kind of appealed to me. Like, I found they were interesting and fun. I've grown up, all right? So these kind of games now that are that level, I don't really care that much about anymore. So I heard this game was coming out, and I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, not really appealing. So, if, again, this could be another situation where the game actually is outstanding, but I just don't get it because it's not my style these days, but I don't want to miss it. So I would like to know, again, during the course of this week, as more people play this game, is it worth my time or not? Let me know, okay? Now, I can tell you right now, a couple games that I'm absolutely skipping. I am not playing the new Mario Tennis game at all. I have zero interest in the new Mario Tennis game. It's a full-price Nintendo game that is not worth full price. It's going to be another Mario Kart World situation where you end up paying like $70 for a game that has like not much content at all. I don't care about tennis. I played the last one and didn't like it. I'm not playing the new Mario Tennis game. So that one is out. I'm definitely not going to play that game this week, okay? There's even another game on top of that, okay? Hold on, because I had to open. I guess I closed it. Shoot. Oh, Yakuza 3 Kiwami. I'm not playing that right now either. There's absolutely no way, if I'm playing Dragon Quest VII, that I could try to squeeze a Yakuza game in there. There's just never going to work, okay? So that, I'm aware it's out, but I'm also not interested in that, all right? So please understand, I'm aware of all these games that are coming out. I know that they exist, but I just don't want everyone coming to the stream. Why aren't you playing this one? Why aren't you playing this one? There's good reasons, okay? We're going to start with Crizzle. I'm keeping my ear to the ground, listening about eugenics and about this Romeo is a Dead Man. If they end up being good, maybe I'll play them. For me, the next major thing in February is on February 17th, my Virtual Boy should be here. I already paid for it. I ordered it, and Nintendo actually already created a shipping label for it. They just haven't shipped it yet. I'm going to do a live unboxing. We're going to hook that sucker up. We're going to plug in my Switch 2, and I'm going to play Virtual Boy games live on stream, which is probably going to be hilarious because the thing, you know, it's a monstrosity. First of all, it's not virtual reality at all. They called it Virtual Boy, and it has absolutely zero aspects of virtual reality. What it is a 3D console that adds a third-dimensional perspective to the 2D games that are on it. But they only run in black and red. From what I understand, they are going to patch it and add more colors, which is funny. Like, how many years later, now you're finally going to add different colors to the thing? So, I'm excited for that. That's going to be right around the middle of the month, the 17th. Okay, and then there's another game called Styx Blades of Green. I forget what that is, but I did put that on my schedule. And then, of course, the end of the month is Resident Evil Requiem. So, we're going to keep playing all the games I'm playing and juggling everything we're juggling and going through there. And then if we need another new game or two, perhaps we will add in something. And then Virtual Boy stuff, and then Resident Evil at the end of the month. That's my February. Okay? Good stuff. One other thing, we already set in stone, the next marathon will be Friday, March 6th. It's going to be a Retrothon here on DSP Gaming. We're going to play old games, but the question is what? Will it be Nintendo games? Will it be Atari games? Will it be one franchise, or will it be a wide variety? We haven't decided yet. That's what we need to start talking about and figuring out so that we can actually set it and plan it and start hyping it. I want to have this next marathon actually be something that we plan ahead and can hype up, as opposed to that last one. It was just so randomized, no one really knew what I was doing, including me, so it really didn't get much hype, right? So let's try to figure that out. What do we want to do the first week of March, okay? That's the first stuff I wanted to talk about today. Next on the agenda, there has been an update on the new game Directive 8020. This is the next game coming out from Supermassive Games, the makers of games such as the Dark Pictures Anthology, The Quarry, and Until Dawn. It's coming out now in May. I think it's May 12th is officially the new release date. This game actually was supposed to come out back in October, but it got delayed, and it's been a pretty big delay. I'm excited for it. A new trailer has released for it. We will react to that tomorrow on the Level 1 podcast. Tomorrow I'm going to do a formal, longer show rather than just this quicker show today. And we will actually react to that trailer and see what it looks like. All right? It's looking good. I'm excited for that. I like reacting to trailers, and this game is right up my alley with the horror-themed and, you know, story elements where you can choose to try to keep everybody alive based on your choices. So that should be a good one. I hope you'll be here tomorrow on the podcast, and I'll react to that trailer. We have an update regarding a game that people have asked me about for quite a long time. It's called 2XKO. This is the fighting game by Riot Games. That's right. It is the League of Legends 2 versus 2 fighting game. For those who don't know, this game was announced 10 years ago in 2016. This game has been under development for 10 years. Executive producer Tom Cannon, who is one half of the infamous Cannon Brothers, the people who started EVO, the National Fighting Game Tournament Championships here in the United States, who used to run Shoryuken.com, the major website where everyone for fighting games would post and talk about their tournament results. Okay? So this guy is incredibly prominent in the fighting game community, And Riot handed the reins over to this guy to develop a Riot Games fighting game. Well, over the last 10 years, this game has changed form tons of times. So you could say it's been in development hell, per se. Originally, it was supposed to be a 1v1 Street Fighter-esque fighting game, just starring the heroes of League of Legends. Then, the game changed focus to be a 2v2 team-based game. Then it changed focus to, instead of being like a Street Fighter game, now it's an 8-button fighting game with simplified inputs where you don't even do motions to do special moves. You just hold a direction and press a button and a move comes out. All right, then it evolved again and again. And what ended up happening was, this game went through so many iterations, so many changes, and so many development problems, okay, that by the time that it was finally going to release, there already were tons of other games coming out that were already similar, so people didn't really care that much about 2XKO anymore. For example, the Invincible versus fighting game is coming out in like a month or 2 months. Is it April? What about Marvel Tokon, right? Which really ate up all of the momentum when the beta came out last year, and everyone was just talking about Marvel is back, Marvel is back. So the problem is that this game took so long to develop that everything else kind of passed it by, and it's now just seeming more samey. While if it had come out like 5 years ago, maybe people would have been blown away. Now it's kind of like, well, there's a million other games as well, so who cares? Okay? So, what happened was recently, last few years, Riot Games actually hired a bunch of people in the fighting game community to actually work on this game and design the heroes and their play styles. They had play testers like my former friend Nerd Josh, all right, who I used to play with fighting games in Connecticut all the time. I mean, he was a kid when I was growing up and, you know, was in arcades with me playing games like Capcom vs. SNK 2, right? He was one of the head testers on the game, employed by Riot Games to make this game good. And so they were tweaking this game time over time to try to make it better and to try to basically make it a game that would be in line with what the fighting game community wanted. But here's the problem with 2XKO. Number one, the name. 2XKO. Does that say, hey, League of Legends fighting game? No. It says 2 times knockout because there's 2 characters and you have to knock out 2 to win. That could apply to any fucking genre of game whatsoever. Whoever made up that name is a complete fucking mouth-drooling idiot. It's the worst name ever for a fighting game. It really is just terrible and is horrible marketing. And it's funny because if you go and ask anyone who's into League of Legends or even someone who's a fan of the Arcane show from, is it Netflix it was on? Just say, hey, what do you think about 2XKO? Do you know how they're going to respond to you? What the hell is 2XKO? What are you talking about? Because no one knows what this game is, all right? There was almost no marketing, no hype, and no one understands what it is. Riot Games very erroneously thought that if they just threw a whole bunch of money, okay, at a game, that it would sell, regardless of the fact that people who play League of Legends would never touch a fighting game, okay? What they should have done was did some focused research on, hey, if we made a game in the fighting game space, how could we make it work so we can actually get some of that customer base over? But instead, they were just assuming they would have an installed player base from the League of Legends community, and the League of Legends community has zero interest in 2XKO. Zero. So, a decade of money and time invested in this game, okay? The game actually came out soft launch in October on PC only. Now, I could already tell you that how bad of an idea that is to do a soft launch on PC only, because basically people were like, is the game out or not? We don't understand. The game is free to play, for the record, okay? So they were assuming people were going to spend money on cosmetics and on downloadable content and on seasonal passes. They didn't charge people up front for this game. So everyone downloaded the game on PC from the FGC. They all played it for free, and they all criticized it and said, it's kind of weak in this regard. In that regard, it's not a very competitive game. We wanted this tweaked. And, you know, being that Tom Cannon is the executive producer and he understands, you know, how the fighting game community works, he worked with them. He had the people who he had employed who were fighting game community people work with the FGC to try to get the game to be better, okay? The problem was, because it was a soft launch and never had a formal launch and never had a full roster of characters, it always felt like the game was kind of in endless beta or endless early access. It never felt like the game actually was out. And therefore, there never was a full-fledged push. There never was full-fledged, like, advertisement for it. No one really even knew that it was out. Okay? 3 weeks ago, Riot Games released 2XKO on consoles. It was January, like, 10th or 11th or something like that, right? And when it did, once again, this was kind of like the second soft launch, where even though, yes, now officially it's on consoles, there still was no big push. There was no advertisement. There was no, oh, go play 2XKO. It was kind of like, it's out, go check it out. But we're still going to tweak it per your request. We're still going to improve it. So it never felt like the game was out, especially because it's free to play. Like, when is the official launch of a game that's free to play? I mean, it had been in forms of beta and early access for a while. So it basically got zero hoopla. Zero. Okay? And now it was announced last night 2XKO is getting a monstrous budget cut. They have just laid off 80 out of the 160 employees that were working on this game. Half of the dev team has been laid off, pretty much including every single person from the fighting game community who they had employed to make the game, have all been made unemployed. Okay? The official post from the 2XKO, dev team is basically the game isn't underperforming massively. It's not making them money at all. And therefore, they're not going to cancel the game. They're not going to close the game or anything like that. But they just can't afford to employ all these people anymore. So they have to lay off everybody. So they said, don't worry, the game's going to continue to exist, and we are going to do dev updates and things for it per your requests and your feedback, but we just can't employ these people from the FGC anymore. So they laid them all off. The FGC replied pretty much exactly how you thought they would respond to this with, are you kidding me? The game has only been out for 3 weeks. We're barely getting a handle on it yet to see if we even like it or if it's going to have a long-running, season or whatever. This is ridiculous. Like, why on earth would you do that? This doesn't give us confidence to invest time in this game. Like, why should we keep playing your game if at any moment now you could just shut it down, right? You got to understand in the FGC, okay, they're constantly juggling different games and schedules. They have to travel to play these games. They're playing online in sets and tournaments. Time is very valuable. I can tell you right now, as someone who used to play competitive fighting games at a high level and travel to play them, the number one issue is time. 100%. Like, you need to be traveling constantly, but playing and also getting a wide variety of experience and practice against a wide variety of players. You can only do it with so many games with so much time. If you're asking the FGC to invest their time in 2XKO, what confidence do they have that it's going to be worth their while if you just laid off half the dev team? You might, at another, well, forget it, we're just quitting the game, we're canceling the game now. But now we invested all this time in it. So basically the FGC is like, yeah, we're pretty much done with this. Like, there's no reason to keep playing it. Because how can we have confidence that anyone will ever, play this game long term? It's just not worth our time anymore. So essentially the game is dead, even though it's not. They already killed themselves. Like, they already committed suicide. And everyone now is yelling at Riot Games like, why did you do this? And it's like, you kind of saw the writing on the wall. First of all, the moment 10 years ago that it was announced that they were making a League of Legends fighting game, I was like, why? What's the point of that? What makes them think that this game would ever succeed? Despite the fact that I have personal issues with Tom Cannon from our interactions back in the day and the history I know of how this guy ran his businesses, ran his tournaments, really kind of messed up stuff there. That's not even the problem with the game. The game is that on a concept level, the game doesn't make sense. Right? They'll be like, oh, we're going to make an Overwatch fighting game. Why? Why are you doing that? Just make a fighting game that's good. It doesn't have to be Overwatch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to basically sell the game just because of the characters in it rather than the game itself. And that's really what happened is they had the premise of selling a League of Legends fighting game, but they didn't have a game yet. Like, they didn't have a concept of what it wanted to do. Is it Street Fighter? Is it a team-based fighter like King of Fighters? Is it a tag-out game like Marvel? Is it going to be an actual straightforward fighting game? Or is it going to be more mash buttons auto combo game? Or is it going to be a game that doesn't even have motion inputs? And they just kept changing their ideas or in a big circle all around for 10 years. By the time the game is ready to come out, no one cares because everything else has already surpassed it. It is textbook gaming development hell. And I hate to say it, the guy in charge, his name is Tom Cannon. There's one finger to point towards one person on how this happened, okay? So, it is what it is. Sad that this happened. What I'm sad about is that all these people in the FGC who thought that this was going to be like long-term employment, they saw that this game was going to be a cash cow for people because they're like, damn, Riot Games has tons of money. Can you imagine if this game becomes huge in the fighting game community? Now we can have sponsored tournaments and we could have big events. And now, done. 10 years of work, 10 years of hype, 10 years of excitement, all a waste of everyone's time. Ran right into the ground by bad leadership. Them's the breaks. Okay. Well, that's the story of 2XKO. Now, the thing is, it might not actually be canceled and done, but I can't imagine that the fighting game community is going to put any faith in this game and invest time in it when it literally could be canceled at a moment's notice. So, we'll have to see what actually happens, but the truth is, I was never going to play it because of my personal issues with the cannons to begin with. So now that the game is failing, it's kind of like, well, now I'm really glad I didn't try it, because that would have been a complete waste of my time, because the game is going to be dead. There you go. Okay. We got a couple of shout-outs to do. Ooh. From JB, I have received a $10 tip. Thank you to JB for $10 this morning. Let's go ahead and get you your nice animation for that. Here's a nice smooch for you, JB. Thank you so much. Open wide, pucker up. Okay, so JB says the following. Retro stream recommendation. The Terminator on the Sega Genesis, or even better, the Sega CD version, which has an amazing soundtrack. Both have amazing graphics and would be great follow-up after 2D No Fate. The visuals and gameplay still hold up really well. They were ahead of its time. Personally, I know of them. Want to know why? The Angry Video Game Nerds review of those games from way back in the day. So I've seen them in action, okay? But I never played them. Now the question is, I like that recommendation, but the question is, how would I play it? Is it available anywhere? Would it have to be some kind of extensive emulation that we'd have to research, okay? I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to say how, because I don't think that's readily available to like download and buy and play anywhere, right? Okay. And let's see here. Someone tipped $1.50 and says, is it satisfying to see a project developed by the Cannon brothers fail, especially after their mistreatment towards you in regards to the rollback netcode debacle on SRK? It's crazy your critics end up failing on their own. Here's the truth. I don't want anything to fail. I would much rather see it succeed, and here's why. Competition breeds innovation. The more fighting games that are out there and actually play well and do well, sales-wise, means there will be more competition in the realm of fighting games. If 2XKO did well, and it competed directly with Street Fighter VI, perhaps that would inspire the makers of Street Fighter VI to stop being lazy and actually improve their game some. Or maybe make another fighting game, because that's the thing. Capcom used to always have 2, 3, 4 fighting games going on at once. So if you like the versus style, you could play that. If you preferred more straight-up Street Fighter, you could play that. At one point, Capcom just got lazy as shit and only made one fighting game at a time, and now we only have Street Fighter VI and nothing else to play, unless we want to go to another company's fare, which are completely different styles of games. So maybe if 2XKO did well, you know, Capcom would say, oh, we got to make another game, and they'd make another one. And I'd like that. So it's not that I don't like the canon, so I want everything they do in life to fail. No, not at all. In truth, here's what I would like: to never hear from them again. To have them just go away and disassociate from the fighting game community forever and never make another game and never run a tournament and just ride into the sunset and just fizzle away. Because ever since the moment that they started getting involved in fighting games, there was corruption and drama and fucking problems. And it still hasn't ended to this day. Here we are all this time later, and now we have the game development hell for this fucking game. Like, it's ridiculous that it continues and persists to this day, that they won't go away, and this problem still continues. Oh, let's see here. I received a $5 tip from someone who says they're enjoying my Hollow Knight playthrough. They have some suggestions, but let's get a nice animation first. So, I'm enjoying Hollow Knight. Try matching charms for different builds, like a mage or a tank build. For example, you could use Heavy Blow, Long Nail, and Quick Focus. It's a good combo. So heavy blow means, I believe, that they blows hit, they're stronger or something like that. Long nail means more reach. I don't know if I have quick focus yet, but maybe I do. Interesting. Okay. So that's interesting. Maybe next time when we play Hollow Knight, which is tomorrow, maybe I should ask the audience, hey, do you guys have recommendations for builds that I can use using these charms? Because it's apparent we're not going to get crests, right? Like, there's no crests in Hollow Knight 1. The crests were exclusive to Silksong. So it's not like you could get builds in the game. You have to build them yourself based off of, I believe, the charms. So that's interesting. Okay, good suggestion. Thank you for the support. And maybe tomorrow people will have some suggestions to help me figure that out. Okay, good stuff. Fed Roger says, Overwatch 2 has rebranded now because of Marvel Rivals. Exactly. Competition breeds innovation, right? Overwatch got cocky. Overwatch got lazy. Overwatch lost their way and literally self-killed themselves. Marvel Rivals came out, took over the hero shooter genre, and now, a year into Marvel Rivals' existence, Overwatch has been inspired to try again. They're taking the 2 off their name, they're adding a bunch of heroes, they're rebalancing and redesigning their game, which is what they should have done on their own. But because they had no competition, they didn't care. They got lazy, they were full of hubris, and they said, fuck it, who cares? Money's rolling in, so why would we improve, right? Surviving Sailor says, I think that running 4 games simultaneously is difficult for studios nowadays with the needed hours and all that. I'm not going to dispute that. And certainly I'm not saying I wish that Capcom had 4 different fighting games going on at once right now, but 2 would be nice. Like to have a maybe classic Street Fighter game and then have more of a versus style game, so at least you have 2 different genres that they're good at in the realm of playing, playability. I would like that. Like, the problem is right now, it's just Street Fighter 6. So if you want a versus style game with tagging and more action, you got to go somewhere else. You got to go play Invincible Versus that's coming out in 2 months. Or you got to go play Marvel Tokon or 2XKO. You can't even play one from Capcom, and Capcom was the one who invented that style of game. So that's what's sad, is that Capcom kind of fell off with the fighting game stuff and only focus on one game at a time. Yes, that does give other people chances, which is a good thing. But at the same time, I like Capcom's style. I want Capcom to make one. So I'm not saying that Capcom should become a full fighting game company and make 4 games at a time, even though they used to. But hey, 2 would be good. Like I said, I want that level of competition from the big boys. Thank you to Red Eyes, who just did a $5 super chat and says, how do I Blanca Ball? So what you do, all right, it's tough. Not everyone can do it because you got to be very flexible. You got to take your 2 legs, okay, and you got to bring them up in front of you like this, okay? Now, once both legs are in front of you like this, okay, you got to hold your legs in place with both arms, okay, like this. Now, what you got to do is, you got to be athletic. You have to leap off the ground while in this position and then forward thrust your head downward and try to rotate. So it's kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog spinning as well, all right? But you got to get momentum. So actually, you got to get a running start when you're doing it. It's kind of difficult. I've only done it a few times in my life, but it's been very successful. I've actually knocked out opponents with 1 hit doing a Blanca Ball. So thank you for the $5, Red Eyes, Black Dragon. Appreciate that. No, that's ridiculous, Doc Space Time. He says, Capcom's not the studio they once were. One flop, they'll probably go under. That's completely false. They have a lot that's going on over there. Seriously, they have, Resident Evil series that's doing ridiculous gangbuster sales. They've got Monster Hunter that's doing insanely good. And Street Fighter. So they've got 3 giant series right now that are all really good sellers. They are rolling in dough right now. You're actually completely off base. 10 years ago, that were the case, because 10 years ago, Monster Hunter wasn't as big as it was today. The actual Resident Evil series had fallen off with Resident Evil 6, and that was failing. And Street Fighter as well. The only thing they had was Street Fighter 4 at that time. So yeah, if you were talking 10 years ago, it would have been a different story. But you're wrong. Today, they are actually doing incredibly well. Is Blanca Ball how I normally get out of my car? No, I do the sumo headbutt. Now, how you do this is you have to run, and then you have to lunge forward headfirst like this while pulling your legs up from under you at a forward thrusting move. That's how I get out of my car, full sumo headbutt. Oh, you have to say "Lumph oi" when you do it. Oi. Am I going to play Overwatch? I have no plans to. I don't, no one liked Overwatch when I played it when it was new and it was a popular game. No one liked Marvel Rivals when I played it, so I don't really have plans to check out these games, but I'm not against it. Like, I would play it if people wanted to. I like Overwatch. Okay. All right, so what we will do, last couple minutes of the DSP morning show, let's open it up to Q&A. Let's see what you guys would like to talk about for the end of the show. And then we're going to jump into Crizzle. We're going to see what Crizzle is all about. All right? So what's on your minds, guys? You hope I consider Fatal Frame 2 Remake and Mouse PI for hire next month. Fatal Frame Remake, I'll be honest, I don't think so, and here's why. I love survival horror. Everyone knows this, okay? I've tried playing many different survival horror franchises over the years. Resident Evil, Silent Hill are two of the big classics, right? And then I tried a lot of the lesser-known ones. Once upon a time, there was a Fatal Frame game that had a modern re-release on the Wii U. So this was a while ago. And there was a Halloween marathon, and it had just come out. And I said, let's do some Fatal Frame for Halloween. I'll play through the game on Halloween. I dressed up like a Ghostbuster to play this game. I thought that would be cool. Like, I'm busting ghosts in Fatal Frame. Okay? And I started to play it. And within an hour of playing it, the entire stream audience told me, oh, this was a bad idea. Man, this game is incredibly boring and not very scary. You know? I guess what it is after having played so many gory, jump scare filled, action based horror games, when I went to play Fatal Frame, the fact that it's more of a slow build, will there be a ghost jumping out of the closet around this corner? And really, to be honest, not necessarily big action. It's more like, oh, there's a ghost, get the camera, take a picture of the ghost quickly before it hurts you or whatever. But there's really not that much going on, right? Sadly, I hate to say it, it just didn't work. People actually outright told me that was the worst Halloween event I ever did because it was so boring, the game was not entertaining. And I was disappointed because I had planned it, did all this work to get it set up, bought the outfit and everything. So since then, no exaggeration, I have literally never played a Fatal Frame game ever again. And that was like 10 years ago. It really was. It was like a decade ago that I did that event. So since then, with all these opportunities and Fatal Frame games and stuff, no one has ever asked me to go back to Fatal Frame. Now, I'm well aware that Fatal Frame actually has a big fan base, and Fatal Frame does well, like in Japan, but for some reason, it just didn't work in my content. So, if people wanted me to go and try it again, maybe I would, but I don't predict that that's going to do well in my content because I've already tried it. All right, but hey, again, this year, 2026, is the year of trying new things. Okay, I'm open and receptive to suggestion. So if you guys do think that actually would work, I would consider trying it again with this remake next month, but you guys tell me. As for the other game that you suggested, Mouse PI, that one is on my list for releases for March, and I'm considering it for sure. Okay. Really? Rose Diamond says, the Fatal Frame series is considered a more atmospheric slow build, but the second is considered the best in the series. Okay, interesting. That's interesting. All right, you guys tell me, you want me to try Fatal Frame, this remake next month or not? I would be down for it, but I want to know that there's interest from the audience, right? Nothing here. I did talk about Mario Tennis. I'm not playing it. There's two reasons. Number one, I played the last Mario Tennis. It was overly difficult. I don't really like tennis, so I suffered through the campaign. It wasn't fun for me at all. I hated it. And after I actually played the campaign, I never played it again. And so it was kind of a flop. That was number one. Number two, Mario Tennis Fever is way too expensive. They're charging, what, $70 for it? So they're treating it like it's a major AAA release with all this content. It's not. It has a story mode and it has online play. It's basic stuff. And they're charging massive money for it. And I just think it's another Mario Kart World situation where the game is basic, but they're going to charge massive amounts because they know it's a console exclusive and people are looking for games to play on Switch too because the game it's like a desert, right? It's like a freaking a dead zone for releases. There hasn't been anything in months. So I really don't want to play it. So the answer is no, I'm not interested in the new Mario Tennis game. Oh, the next DSP tries is crumble cookies, and it looks like we're probably doing it tomorrow night. All right? Originally, I was doing them on Mondays, but this week it's a dessert. We're going to do it on a late stream rather than an early stream. I'm not going to spoil my dinner to eat crumble cookies. So I'm thinking tomorrow night, after the Hellmart stream, we'll actually end the gameplay like 15 minutes earlier than usual, and I will do DSP tries it crumble cookies, trying out multiple flavors of crumble cookies in a head-to-head taste test right here on DSP Gaming. So if you're interested in DSP tries it this week, be there for the Hellmart stream tomorrow night, okay? What is special about crumble cookies? So it is a business that makes giant gourmet cookies of supposedly decadent flavors. So for example, strawberry cheesecake. So it'll be a cookie that has like pieces of strawberries and cheesecake in the cookie, but then a frosting that's flavored on top of it as well, and it looks all fancy. So it's meant to be like a really high-end decadent dessert, and they only do limited time flavors. Like they don't actually have set flavors, but like anytime you go there, they'll have completely different flavors. So I'm sure right now they probably have one that's like Valentine's Day. They probably have one that's like chocolate because they always have like a staple chocolate. I bet they have one that's like a classic chocolate chip, but then they probably have one that's like a cake flavor. They always do stuff like that. So yeah, I'm basically just going to buy like a variety pack, and we're going to try pieces of like each of them and test them out and see if they're any good. Oh, let's see here. Would I ever get rid of the leaderboard? No. The leaderboard is a great way for people who contribute to my content to get recognition. Okay? I would not get rid of the leaderboard. It's something that's essential for a streamer like me. You need to have something like that. It's that simple. It doesn't hurt the content. I've now had it on screen since 2017. I'm not getting rid of the leaderboard. No. Is there a video game remake or remaster I wish would come out? Infamous. Can we get a dedicated intro and banner for the DSP morning show? If someone wanted to design them, sure. I don't have the capability to do an intro or a banner. I have no graphical design capabilities whatsoever. Like the best I could do would be to like just do an AI image, but AI is very hard to, like, for example, if I were to say, design a banner that's this size, half the time it won't even give you something that's that size. It'll fuck up and give you something that's off or whatever. Well, I don't even know what it would be. A cup of coffee, like a hand with a cup of coffee. It says DSP Morning Show or something. I don't know. But I don't really have that kind of experience or expertise to be able to do that. Or an intro. Like, I don't even know how. I don't have a video. Well, I have a video editing program, but I don't have the know-how to make like an animation. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I could do is maybe me talking like this and it plays music, but I don't even have music for the show. It'd have to be like AI music. I don't know. Is it really that big of a deal? Nothing here, I agree. A remake of Chrono Trigger of any capacity of a modern game would be amazing. Would I consider Doom 64 for the Retro Marathon if people wanted it? Doom 64 is not that good. It's a Nintendo 64 version of Doom that has all new stages, but it doesn't look as good as regular Doom on PC. You know, it's like N64 nerfed version. So I don't know if that's a very entertaining game to watch. What happened to the old intro that sounded like a gospel-style singing? I changed it out. It got played out. We were using it for many, many months, and I got tired of it, so we did a new one. The current one I feel is much better and representative of who I am. What's the intro I had that started with TV static? You mean the week in preview? That I used to do a show every week that was me previewing what would come up that week? Like it was a schedule preview of the week? Yeah, that was like 15 years ago. I'm aware that Capcom is currently remaking Code Veronica X. That's excellent. That's actually one of the things I've wanted them to remake. Could I do a Terraria playthrough? I could, if people wanted it. Never really have gotten much demand for one, which is why I've never done it. Have we had a good chill time? We're covering a lot of topics on today's morning show. Like I said, tomorrow, we will actually do a formal Level 1 podcast, all right? We will definitely react to the Directive 8020 trailer. This Friday's Level 1 podcast will be a big one. Here's why. On Thursday, Sony is doing a State of Play. And from the rumors and the information that's going out there, it's going to be over an hour long, supposedly. Okay? So, yeah, from what I'm to understand, it's going to cover a ridiculous amount of content, like all these games. So we will talk about and react to all of that stuff on Friday morning's podcast, on the Level 1 podcast, probably going to be a big react show is what I'm guessing. So, Chimchar, thank you for another $2. I really appreciate that you just keep throwing me money for things I never read. Good on you, man. Thank you so much. Seriously, as soon as it says Chimchar, I just ignore the message and I just add it to the leaderboard. Thank you so much, man. For those who don't know, Chimchar is a really bad troll who tried to troll me by throwing me money for like 2 weeks now. And he got banned by a mod, and he came back with another name just to do it again. I'm like, all right, I'll accept your money, stupid. All right, are we good? All right, folks. It is time to end the show. Thank you for watching the DSP Morning Show. I hope that you had a good time with me here. And I hope that you'll stick around to check out Crizzle, which I'm about to check out in just a moment here. And I certainly hope that also we will have some fun Street Fighter tonight with Dalzine. Okay, that's going to be a fun one. And then tomorrow, there will be a Level 1 podcast. So no morning show tomorrow. I'm sorry, guys. You're just going to have to settle for a full-fledged podcast in the morning instead. Much longer show. Chimchar, throw me more money. Thank you, Chimchar. I heard that you can mortgage your home and take out like a home equity loan if you wanted to do a larger contribution that I won't read. That's possible as well. It's a new thing. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Peace out.